The first time I was really publicly visible about being trans was at San Francisco Pride in the year 2000. Here I am marching with FTM International holding the banner. My parents used to say we should never have let you go to San Francisco. They believed the city turned me trans. Before then, they said I was a happy girl. Just look at the old pictures. As a baby, there's not much to say. Babies are just babies, though, fun fact, I've come full circle and have the same haircut again. As I grew, there were hints. Gender-neutral Halloween costumes, sometimes not so neutral. Groucho Marx, anyone? Look at this happy little girl in her birthday dress, right? But what you don't see is the other party that year, the one where I cried and begged not to wear a dress. I wanted to wear pants. I wanted to run around with my friends who were all boys. Instead, I got threats of a spanking. So I wore the dress, and the party was awful. Here's me in first grade in my Catholic school jumper. Still smiling, still a happy girl, but no one took pictures on school uniform shopping day when I begged for pants like the boys wore. There was a gray plaid pant option for girls, but my parents said, no pants, girls don't wear pants. I could comply or be punished. I learned to comply. Here I am in third grade. That year, I overheard kids laughing about someone who had a sex change. They thought it was disgusting. I laughed too, but inside I thought, that's me. That night, I packed a small bag and ran away. Just to the bushes outside for about an hour. That's how far my courage went at age 8. By high school, I was just angry and depressed, like a lot of teens. My parents blamed public school. But the truth is, I was 16 and living a secret life. I had a private P.O. box. I wrote to pen pals under a male name. It was the only way I could be myself. Here's my first day at USF in San Francisco, 1991. Jesuit University. That's how I convinced my parents to let me go. My college roommate used to call me her man. She'd joke, did your prayers work? Did you wake up with a penis? We laughed, but I wasn't joking. There was a trans woman on campus that everyone mocked. She was brave in a way I didn't know how to be yet. Years later, I tried to do the right thing by God and got married. My family kept tons of wedding photos, more proof in their eyes that I wasn't trans. But even then, I wore men's clothing at home, even men's underwear. When the marriage crumbled, my ex threatened to tell my mom my tranny secret. And even though I was grown, the threat worked. The fear still held power. Eventually, I left. He didn't tell my mom. I cut my hair, started wearing trans-coded t-shirts that only other trans people would recognize. I thought maybe this would be enough. When I was finally able to move back to San Francisco, I could breathe again. The freedom to dress and live as myself gave me hope. I thought maybe I wouldn't have to medically transition after all. I could play girl when I visited my family, live as myself the rest of the time. I married again, this time to someone who said they supported my identity. We had a child. I look happy in these pictures. But during and after pregnancy, the body dysmorphia hit hard. Suicidal ideation was at an all-time high. I even wrote a note to be given to my child when they were 12, explaining why I had to go. I reached out for help. We got to the root. I couldn't keep living like this. The real question became, what's better for my kid, a dead parent or a living parent who happens to be trans? Obviously, I chose life. And while I lost my family of origin, I got to raise my child to adulthood. To be honest, being trans isn't even a big part of my identity. I identify more as a letter-writing nerd than anything else. But I choose to be visible on this Trans Day of Visibility because a lot of people are afraid. Afraid to come out, afraid to live, afraid of being hated for who you are. I don't know if this video will even reach anyone who needs it, but if it helps one person feel seen or a little less alone, then that's enough. There was no internet when I was a closeted trans kid. No community, no language. But there was hope even if I didn't know it yet. So if you're trans, if you're questioning, if you're scared, you're not alone, you're not broken, and you don't have to be afraid of anyone. Happy Trans Day of Visibility. And thanks for seeing me.